This person is falsely implying that you need to eat a whole lot of apricot kernels before they give you trouble, and even goes so far as to recommend eating several apricot kernels a day. That's false. The problem is that apricot kernels contain amygdalin, which goes into cyanide, and if you actually look at the data, like from the European Safety Commission, they state that eating as few as 3 bitter apricot kernels can cause you to have symptoms of cyanide poisoning, like nausea, dizziness, and even beyond that. And 1 apricot kernel can actually kill a child. That's from the EU, where she's actually from, or he, I don't know which. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that apricot kernels, which contain amygdalin, which have the cyanide, kills cancer cells. Because in vitro experiments, which means in a petri dish that were done long ago, they killed cells. Indiscriminately, by the way, not only cancer cells, but all other cells. When scientists tried to define and refine this and came out with Laetrile, natural health people jumped on it and called it vitamin B17, a natural cancer-fighting agent. And people would flock to Mexico to get Laetrile injections. It didn't work out well for them. And studies that were done at Mayo Clinic and other prestigious institutions found that Laetrile did nothing to shrink tumors, to extend person's life, or to make the quality of their life better, all while you have toxicity. Now here's the thing. Every agent out there has a toxic dose and maybe an ineffective dose and maybe an effective dose. But you could have an ineffective dose to a toxic dose this close together, and that's what Laetrile is, or apricot pits or kernels. They're dangerous, proven not to work, and yet widely found on the internet and available to people. Did you know that in New Zealand you can't buy them, that you cannot buy them in Australia, and that South Korea also banned them? You can still get them in the US. We're this wide open place of supplements and scams. So be careful. When people say, oh, you need to take like a whole bunch for a long time before you get cyanide poisoning, they're just completely wrong. Anecdotes don't make evidence, and a bunch of anecdotes doesn't give you a series that can give you evidence. But that's what people who sell these scams, which are dangerous, potentially toxic to you, are there. I thought we dispensed with Laetrile and apricot pits back in the 1980s when the studies came out showing it wasn't a problem. But clearly it has been recycled, and what's old is new again. I don't like cancer, but you know what? I'm going to go to a board-certified clinical oncologist if I ever get cancer, because that's where you will actually find cures and people who actually care about efficacy, toxicity, and reading studies.